are suing family friend, 18-year-old Dylan Strittmatter, for crashing a golf cart during their wedding reception. Dylan claims he is not guilty.
Who was getting married? According to your complaint, Miss Cotton, your family lives on the river.
Correct.
Is that where the wedding was?
Yes.
The defendant is the son of an old family friend, and because there was so much land and the venue was spread out, you rented 2 golf carts to sort of help people get from one place to another, especially people who might have been a little older. Those golf carts were just rented for the event. Okay. It is your claim that the defendant, without permission, drove one of those golf carts and damaged it. You're being charged by the rental company for the damage to the golf cart, and you want him to pay for it.
Correct.
Who saw Mr. Strittmatter riding the golf cart?
Tristan Hall.
How old are you, Mr. Hall?
18.
What do you know about Mr. Strittmatter and the golf cart?
Well, I was the guy in charge of taking people to and from the parking to the wedding, and we were at the reception.
At the golf cart, with the golf cart.
Right. And after the wedding, we went to the reception, and we had the 2 golf carts parked over there. And we were all sitting around eating, and I saw them take off in the golf cart, and we just went out. I went out there after them to see what.
Saw who taking off?
Dylan and Greg.
That Dylan would be you?
Yes.
And who's Greg?
I'm Greg.
Perfect. I love it. No, I didn't ask you to go over there yet.
Well,
I didn't ask you to go over there yet.
Okay. That is a lot.
I didn't go over.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
Oh, Miss Cotton, you're going to talk to me. You, me. Maybe you're used to getting the last word. I'm trying to tell you, it's your responsibility to ensure no underage drinking at your venue.
Matter owes for crashing a golf cart during their wedding reception.
Go ahead.
Okay, so I went out there, and we were just riding. We were riding around for a little while.
Who was riding around?
Me, Dylan, and Greg.
How did you get on the golf cart?
Because I went out there. When I saw him riding around, I walked out there.
So you walked outside, and the 3 of you got on the golf cart.
Right. Well, they were on it first. I went out there after they were already on it. I went out there.
Who drove?
They were driving. We all took turns driving.
Who drove first?
Tristan drove first, but there's also a 4th person in the party. Their son Chase was also in the golf cart, and he also drove it with us.
Is that right?
Chase was in the golf cart, yes.
So who drove first?
I guess I drove first.
Who drove second?
Chase drove second.
Who drove third?
I drove third.
All right, what happened next?
Okay, so we were driving around, and we were just driving around with the golf cart, and after a little while, I said, okay, we should probably bring this back. So we were on our way back down this road, and that's whenever he thought he could make it through these 2 rocks, if that's what you want to call them. They were more like boulders, and then he just ran into one of them.
Now, did you know you weren't supposed to be driving around in that golf cart at that time?
In the back of my mind, I did.
And did you know you weren't supposed to be Hey, did you look at me? Did you know you weren't supposed to be driving around in the golf cart at that time?
Yes, I knew that.
Did you know you weren't supposed to be driving around at that time? And I assume your son knew that he wasn't supposed to be driving around at that time.
That is correct.
So what are you suing him for?
Because he had been drinking at the wedding at my mom's, and I had told him to put it down, and I saw them take off, but mind you, I'm in the middle of my reception, and I heard them, and so did my friends, hear them screaming, come on, let's go get on the golf cart. It was just those 2, and they were drunk at our wedding. They did take it. The owner of the...
Your son was there. How old is he?
13.
What'd you do to him?
Actually, both of my sons had told them, and so had Tristan, to stop, and he was driving...
Hey, driving around in the golf cart.
Well, a little more than driving. He was driving erratically.
Just a second. Where do you think it's all his responsibility?
Because he was told to put it back, and he didn't.
Who told him to put it back?
All of them.
They did not. They were driving around with it. They did not tell him to put it back. What are you, nuts? Listen, Miss Cotton.
Yes.
If you're telling me that you saw them get in the golf cart and drive around with it, and you didn't leave your reception to go and stop them from driving around with it...
My oldest son actually did.
He's not here. You, not your son. Your 13-year-old was in the golf cart.
Right, but my oldest son also took the keys from them.
Did you see that?
No, but they all told me, and the owner of the golf cart.
I can't tell you anything, Miss Cotton. You have a responsibility. A golf cart is an attractive nuisance. That's what it is for young people. That's why your 13-year-old got in the golf cart.
Well, I mean, he admitted to wrecking it and told us he was sorry.
They were all involved in it. If anything, he's responsible for a quarter of it, not for the whole thing. Your son is responsible. Therefore, you're responsible
My
for a
son
quarter.
is 13.
He's responsible for a quarter. He's responsible for a quarter. He's not responsible for the whole damage to the golf cart. They shouldn't have been in the golf cart to begin with. And if you saw them and you're the grown-up, you should have seen to it that they weren't in the golf cart.
Can I say something?
Listen, if you knew he was drinking, what's the drinking age where you are anyway?
21.
If he got hurt and he'd been drinking at your wedding, he would have owned that house on the river.
I can't control him. He's not my
Oh,
child.
yes, you can. You can put him out of your house.
He wasn't at our house. It was an open field. We weren't there. He went off in a different area.
Miss Cotton, it's your responsibility when you have an event to ensure that there is no underage drinking. And based upon what you tell me, you saw him drinking and drunk at your wedding. You then saw him get into a golf cart and drive away. And it was your reception, and you couldn't do anything about it because you didn't want to leave the reception. That's what you told me.
I didn't see him get in. I heard them say they were going to do it and take off, and people were
Miss Cotton, I'm getting less and less sympathy for you. I mean, that doesn't give him any right to do that. And he's going to pay for 1/4 of the damage. But I have less and less sympathy for you. You planned a wedding, and you had a bunch of kids, including these two people, not only the defendant, who were drinking at your wedding. And that's your responsibility. You are responsible for the venue. That's what the law says. And if they had gotten into a car instead of a golf cart, and instead of going between a boulder and scratching your golf cart, which is what he did, he got into his car and he killed somebody, you know who they'd come after? You. That's what the law says.
I didn't serve him the alcohol, and he stole
You
it.
did serve him alcohol.
I did.
Duh.
Actually, we didn't serve him the alcohol.
You did serve him alcohol.
Well, I mean, it's in a bar area. Anybody can walk to the bar and get it.
He didn't get it from the bar. He did go and take
Did you get it from the bar?
Actually, there was a fountain outside the wedding reception that had
Right.
wine, and there was a cup there and cups, and you could just go in and pour yourself some.
And did you not look at me and I told
Just
you
a
to put
second.
it down?
Just a second.
Oh,
Is
yes,
that what
you
you're
did,
telling me?
Ellen.
Then what you do is when you have children and you have open alcohol, you ensure that the children who are there don't drink the alcohol.
Well, the only...
Miss Cotton, you're going to talk to me. You, me. Maybe you're used to getting the last word. I'm trying to tell you that based upon 16 years of education and 30 years in the judicial system, it's your responsibility to ensure no underage drinking at your venue. Do you understand?
Yeah.
How much is it going to cost to fix this golf cart?
$1,119.35.
Your responsibility is $279, young man. Do you understand?
Yes.
Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $279, only because you have to accept a certain amount of responsibility. Think that's reasonable?
Sure.
Good. That's all.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And on the next Judge Judy.
I've done it, but we did it, and I can't take it back.
Should have been watching it a little bit closer, I guess.
I hope it kind of works itself out, and we get to talk again.
If you know that there's two wild teenagers, don't invite them to your wedding.
Not drive any golf carts drunk.